Hi fans of high quality entertainment. If you're wondering where I got this from, you'll have to check the video that's linked at the end of this video. That makes sense. It's on my ASMR channel. I'm doing a book review on a Beatles book that I bought a few months ago. So there it is there. Stay. Now, even though I'm calling this a top 10, it's, in a way, it really isn't. These are just the songs that I thought of, and there's so many of them. But anyway, this might apply more to people that remember the good old days of vinyl. And it started, at least for me, with the Beatles' A Day in the Life, with that awesome ending to the album, with that final chord that would slowly fade out, well, the orchestra building and the final chord. And so, ever since the ending of that album, anytime I would buy a new rock album, I would be hoping that there'll be some kind of cool ending to the album. And sometimes there was, and sometimes I was highly disappointed. For instance, I used to be a huge fan of, well, I still am, a fan of Humble Pie, and their album Smoking, which I loved. And the last song, Sweet Peace and Time, I loved, and so I'm waiting for some cool ending, some freak out at the end, and it just faded out quickly. It's like, oh, that sucked. But I don't know if maybe it's a dying art form, if you call it that, or maybe most people don't care about albums, but that was the thing about vinyl records, and not so much with CDs, is it was almost like a movie. Yeah, in a way it was like a movie. It's like you have an interesting beginning to a movie or a record, and it grabs your attention and hopefully holds it throughout, and then at the end you want it to have a good ending. And so these are 10 cool endings to albums, and it's not necessarily the whole song, it's just the ending of the album, if that makes sense. Some of you probably don't even know what I'm talking about. What's this old guy talking about? Ending of albums? What's an album? So obviously, well, number one for me, for all time, would be the Beatles' A Day in the Life from Sgt. Pepper. But other ones I thought of, for my top 10 at the moment, but like I said, there's so many, is also the Beatles' Abbey Road, The End. And I've told the story before how there was that 20-second gap before Her Majesty kicked in, and so the first time I'm watching the vinyl record on the turntable, and I'm thinking, how come the needle's not coming off? And so I turned the volume all the way up, and it's spinning, and then boom. And I joked before that, at the age of 11, I had my first heart attack, and some people said, did you really have a heart attack? No, I didn't. I was joking. Once in a while, I try and be funny. Love the whole song, but just the ending is the last with Robert Plant, 'cause I got you in the sights of my gun, and then just the whole explosive ending. How many more times from Led Zeppelin's debut album? Now, in my almost hour-long video that I just uploaded recently, where there's bad grammar in there, you should check it out if you haven't, I mentioned 10 great opening tracks. And one of them I mentioned was Pink Floyd's The Wall, where at the very beginning, the voice is Where We Came In, and at the end, this is why I've chosen this as a great closing track on Pink Floyd's The Wall, Isn't This? So if you combine the end of the album with the start of the album, it's Isn't This Where We Came In? So I thought that was always so cool. And I didn't really catch on to it at first. And there's probably more than 2 of these songs, but my favorite is from Kiss's debut album, the only Kiss album I really have ever liked, is Black Diamond, because at the end, you know, where it slows down and also the Stranglers' Black and White. There's a song on it called Enough Time, and they do the same exact thing. And it always sounds so cool when they slow down the track until it... Is anybody watching? Once again, a superb track, one of the best closing tracks on an album. That final scream and the drums by Keith Moon, Won't Get Fooled Again. And I just thought of another one because, you know, sometimes I'm thinking while I'm talking. And I just mentioned this album in my last video, the Guess Who's Rockin'. They're doing like this 50s rock stuff there, and Burton comes to sing, don't you want me, don't you want me? And then at the end, this is the end of the record, da! I just always thought, yeah, it's the end of the record, da! It's cool. I gotta mention, once again, Pink Floyd. The Dark Side of the Moon with that heartbeat. Another superb closing track, and it's one of the few songs that gives me chills sometimes. It's Bruce Springsteen's, that's it, Jungle Land. Tonight in Jungle Land. That was my Bruce Springsteen impersonation. Another song, kind of maybe not a crazy ending. Well, it is a crazy ending because they're rocking out so hard. It is AC/DC's Whole Lotta Rosie. What a great burning closing track. They are just rocking on that track. I'm not sure if that's the song where Angus Young's amp started to blow smoke. I don't think it was. It was, but it was from that album, High Voltage. Pardon me. And this one that just came into my head there, and so I'm going to tell it to you. Or I'll just sit here and stare at you for a few minutes. It is from Frank Zappa's You Are What You Is. I Don't Want to Get Drafted. What a crazy song. I mean, a good, a serious subject matter, especially with Frank Zappa. But, of course, he does it in a humorous way, and all these crazy Munchkin type of voices and all that. And then the very end of it, Leave My Nose Alone, Please. It's just... And I believe he used that phrase in an earlier album. He does this with his albums, all kinds of these little signs or whatever. That's it. I hope you enjoyed my video. Remember to check my latest ASMR video, and like I always say now, please thumbs up the video. I really appreciate it. It helps my views and my whatever. Bye.